Greetings aspirants, welcome to the Daily Current Affairs by CivicCentre IAS, where we try to discuss important and relevant articles from the Hindu, Indian Express and the PIB in UPSC CSE Prelims perspective. These are the list of articles we are going to discuss today. Coming to the first article, an alert bank manager with the State Bank of India in Central Delhi saved a 68-year-old retired school teacher from becoming a victim of a digital arrest scam a few days ago. The manager saved 79 lakh rupees belonging to the victim, which the latter was all set to transfer to the scam accused. So now in this context, let's discuss about the digital arrest. Digital arrest is a sophisticated cybercrime tactic where fraudsters impersonate law enforcement officials to deceive individuals into believing they are under virtual arrest. In this scam, victims are coerced into staying connected via video calls, during which they are manipulated into transferring money or divulging sensitive information. The modus operandi begins with the initial contact, where scammers reach out to victims, often posing as officials from agencies like CBI, Enforcement Directorate, or local police. Subsequently, they create fear by falsely informing victims that they are involved in serious crimes such as money laundering or narcotics trafficking. As the scam progresses, victims are coerced into continuous video call communication, effectively placing them under a digital arrest. Finally, under the guise of avoiding physical arrest, victims are pressured into paying substantial sums of money. Coming to the next article, President Draupadi Murmu on Monday appointed Chief Krishnan Vinod Chandran, Chief Justice of Patna High Court, a judge of the Supreme Court. The appointment returns to the top court to its full sanctioned strength of 34 judges. So now in this context, let's discuss about the collegium system. The collegium system is the method for the appointment and transfer of judges, which has evolved through judgments of the Supreme Court rather than through an act of parliament or a provision in the constitution. The evolution of the system began with the first judge's case 1981, where the Supreme Court declared that the primacy of Chief Justice of India recommendation on judicial appointments and transfer could be refused for cogent reasons. This ruling therefore gave the executive primacy over the judiciary in judicial appointments for the next 12 years. Subsequently, in the second judge's cases, 1993, the Supreme Court introduced the collegium system by holding that consultation actually meant concurrence. The court further emphasized that the CJI's opinion was not individual, rather an institutional opinion formed in consultation with the two senior-most judges in the Supreme Court. And next, in the third judge's case, 1998, on the President's reference, the Supreme Court expanded the collegium system to a 5-member body comprising the CJI and 4 senior-most colleagues, for instance, in the transfer of High Court judges. Regarding the appointment of Supreme Court judges, the composition and strength of the Supreme Court have evolved over time. Initially, the Supreme Court consisted of 8 judges comprising 1 Chief Justice and 7 others. Over time, however, the Parliament increased the number of judges, and the current strength of Supreme Court is 34 judges, consisting of 1 Chief Justice and 33 other judges. The qualification for appointment as a judge are outlined in Article 124, Clause 3 of the Constitution. According to this provision, a person can be appointed as a judge of the Supreme Court if they meet certain criteria. First, the person must be a citizen of India. Second, the individual must have served as a judge of the High Court for at least 5 years or served as a judge in 2 such courts in succession. Alternatively, the person must have been an advocate of High Court for at least 10 years or served as an advocate in 2 or more such courts in succession. Lastly, the individual must be considered a distinguished jurist in the opinion of the President. As of appointment process, the judges of the Supreme Court are appointed by the President under Clause 2 of Article 124 of the Constitution. In making these appointments, the President consults with the judges of the both Supreme Court and the High Courts to ensure informed decisions are made. Coming to the next article, after years of attempting to persuade then the Naveen Patnaik-led Biju Janata Dal government to join Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, the centre has finally signed a memorandum of understanding with the Odisha government, with the Mohan Charan Maji-led government at the helm after the Bharatiya Janata Party swept to power in the eastern Indian state last year. So, now in this context, let's discuss about Ayushman Bharat. Ayushman Bharat, a flagship scheme of Government of India, was launched and recommended by the National Health Policy 2017 to achieve the vision of universal health coverage. This initiative has been designed to meet the Sustainable Development Goals and its underlying commitment to leave no behind. Ayushman Bharat adopts a continuum of a care approach comprising two interrelated components, health and wellness centers and Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. The purpose of Ayushman Bharat is to be the largest health assurance scheme in the world. One of its key features is to provide health cover of rupees 5 lakhs per family per year for according and tertiary care hospitalization. This will benefit over 12 crore poor and vulnerable families, approximately 55 crore beneficiaries, who form the bottom 40% of the Indian population. The eligibility criteria for inclusion are based on the deprivation and occupational criteria of the socio-economic state caste census 2011 for rural and urban areas respectively. PMJ was initially known as the National Health Protection Scheme before being rechristened. Additionally, it subsumed the existing Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana, which was launched in 2008. PMJ fully funded by the government, and the cost of implementation is shared between the central and the state governments. The hospital coverage is accessible at both public and private empaneled hospitals across India. Regarding coverage details, Ayushman Bharat includes pre and post hospitalization expenses. Especially, it covers up to 3 days of pre-hospitalization and 15 days of post-hospitalization expenses, including diagnostics and medications. There are no restrictions on family size, age, or gender. Additionally, all pre-existing conditions are covered from day one. In terms of portability, the benefits are transferable across the countries, allowing beneficiaries to seek treatment at any empaneled hospital. Furthermore, approximately 1,929 procedures are covered under PMJ, with all related treatment costs included. These include drugs, supplies, diagnostic services, physician's fees, room charges, surgeon's fees, and OT and ICU charges. Finally, the reimbursement policy ensures that the public hospitals are reimbursed for healthcare services at the same rate as private hospitals, thus ensuring equitable access to healthcare for all. Coming to the next article, in what proved to be a manic Monday for India's financials market, the rupee recorded its sharpest slide in almost 2 years to the close 66 paisa down against the US dollar at 86.70, while benchmark stock insights fell about 1.4% to 1.5% to hit their lowest level in over 7 months. So now in this context, let's discuss about the rupee depreciation. Rupee depreciation is primarily determined by the dynamics of supply and demand in the foreign exchange market. Especially, a currency depreciates when its demand decreases or its supply increases relative to other currency. The factors that cause a currency to depreciate are influenced by both supply and demand. On supply side, the country's monetary policy plays a significant role. A looser monetary policy increases the supply of currency, leading to the depreciation, while a tighter monetary policy reduces the supply, causing appreciation. On the demand side, the foreign interest in a country's goods and assets drives the demand for its currency. High demand for exports and investments strengthens the currency, whereas low demand weakens it. There are several reasons behind the rupee's fall, which can be attributed to both short-term and long-term factors. In short term, foreign investors' exit has been a key factor. Global investors are withdrawing funds from emerging markets like India due to shifts in the monetary policies and investing more in advanced economies. Additionally, monetary policy adjustments globally as central banks recalibrate policies after pandemic-induced tightening and have made India's policies seem less favorable compared to others. In terms of long-term trends, higher inflation in India has contributed to rupee depreciation. The Reserve Bank of India has maintained a relatively loose monetary policy, which has led to higher inflation compared to the US, further weakening the rupee. Additionally, India's high import dependency exacerbates the situation, especially with the increased demand for dollars to pay for imports like crude oil and gold, which weakens the rupee. Low export growth also plays a role as insufficient exports fails to generate significant demand for the rupee. Now, what's the RBI role? The RBI plays a crucial role in stabilizing the rupee by using its foreign exchange reserves to sell dollars in the market. However, as of December 2024, India's forex reserves fell to $640 million, an 8-month low down from $700 billion in the September. Without the RBI's intervention, the depreciation of the rupee would have been even more severe, and the implications of the rupee depreciation are significant. First, import costs rises, making essential imports like crude oil or more expensive. This in turn leads to inflation pressures as high import costs contribute to domestic inflation. On the other hand, depreciation can make Indian exports cheaper and more competitive globally, although structural issues within the economy limit the full benefits of this price advantage. Coming to the next article. In this article, we will discuss about rat hole mining. So, rat hole mining is a method of manual drilling commonly carried out by skilled workers, particularly in Meghalaya. In this method, narrow pits are dug into the ground, typically just wide enough for one person to fit into it. The term rat hole refers to these narrow pits, which are large enough for a single person to descend and extract coal. After digging the pits, the miner uses a rope and bamboo ladders to drop down into the hole. This method is primarily used for coal extraction and is considered extremely hazardous due to its inherent risks. Rat hole mining is illegal in many countries due to the increasing number of miners dying from asphyxiation, lack of oxygen, and hunger. There are two types of rat hole mining: side cutting, which is done on hill slopes by following visible coal seams, and box cutting, which involves digging a circular or a square pit and conducting horizontal tunneling that resembles octopus tentacles. Several reasons have contributed to the ban on rat hole mining. One key factor is legal loopholes. As Meghalaya under 6th schedule allows landowners to own minerals, this limited government control has in turn encouraged unsafe mining practices. Another significant issue is child labor and human trafficking. Reports have estimated that around 70,000 children, primarily from Bangladesh and Nepal, work in these mines. Furthermore, the National Human Rights Commission found 222 children employed in the mines of East Jaintia Hills alone. The National Green Tribunal took note of the environmental destruction and loss of lives caused by this mining method. Consequently, the NGT imposed a ban in 2014, citing concerns and the collapse of unsafe mines and frequent drowning incidents. Coming to the next article, Indian Meteorological Department celebrating 50 years of excellence. So now in this context, let's discuss about the Indian Meteorological Department. The Indian Meteorological Department was established in 1875 to centralize meteorological work in India, with the first meteorological reporter H.F. Blandford and the first Director General Sir John Elliot appointed in 1889. Over the years, IMD has seen key developments that have significantly enhanced its capabilities. These include the early use of the telegraphs for weather data collection and warnings, followed by the introduction of electronic computers for meteorological applications. Additionally, India became the first developing country to launch a geostationary satellite, INSAT, which enabled continuous weather monitoring and cyclone warnings. IMD has developed an extensive infrastructure to develop meteorological observations, forecasting, and disaster warnings. This includes regional meteorological centers in major cities such as Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Kolkata, Nagpur, and Guwahati. The department's objectives are multifaceted, beginning with providing current and forecast weather data to support agriculture, irrigation, aviation, shipping, and other weather-dependent activities. IMD also issues severe weather warnings for phenomena like cyclones, monsoon failures, and dust storms to mitigate potential losses. Furthermore, the department supplies critical meteorological data for agriculture, water resource management, industries, and national planning. IMD also conducts and promotes meteorological research to advance the field. In terms of its organizational structure, the Director General of Meteorology, based in New Delhi, heads the IMD. The department operates 6 regional centers, each under the control of Deputy Director Generals, who are responsible for meteorological operations across India. IMD also manages several specialized divisions that focus on specific meteorological fields, such as agriculture meteorology, civil aviation, climatology, hydrometeorology, instrumentation, satellite meteorology, and seismology. IMD functions under the Ministry of Earth Sciences, which coordinates research, data collection, and weather services across the country. This collaborative framework ensures that the IMD plays a critical role in disaster management, weather forecasting, and supporting various sectors that depend on accurate meteorological data. Coming to the next article, year-on-year inflation rate based on All India Consumer Price Index for month of December 2024 over December 2025 is 5.22%. Corresponding inflation rates for rural and urban are 5.76% and 4.58% respectively. So, now in this context, let's discuss about the Consumer Price Index, CPI. The Consumer Price Index is generally used as a macroeconomic indicator of inflation. It serves as a tool for the central bank and government to target inflation, inspect price stability, and act as a deflator in the national accounts. The CPI measures Price changes from the perspective of a retail buyer and is released by the National Statistical Office. In April 2014, the Reserve Bank of India adopted the CPI as its key measure of inflation. The CPI provides valuable insights into various economic factors. For example, it helps understand the real value of salaries, wages, pensions, as well as the purchasing power of the nation's currency and the regulation of interest rates. As one of the most important statistics to access economic health, the CPI is generally based on the weighted average of the prices of a basket of commodities. Essentially, it offers an idea of the cost of living. Simply puts, the CPI specifically identifies period of deflation or inflation by tracking day-to-day living expenses of consumers. When inflation occurs, which means the goods and services cost more, the CPI rises over time. Conversely, if the CPI drops, it signals deflation, which is steady reduction in the prices of goods and services. CPI is calculated by referring a base year, which means serves as a benchmark. Currently, the base year is 2012. The CPI formula is price of basket in current period by price of basket in base period into 100. The National Statistical Office (NSO) under the Ministry of the Statistics and Programs Implementation compiles both all India and state-wise CPI data for rural, urban and combined sectors. It then releases the CPI numbers every month, providing essential information on inflation trends. Coming to the next article, the wholesale price inflation rose to 2.37% in December 2024 due to spike in prices of non-food articles, manufactured items, as well as fuel and power, even though food items saw marginal easing, government data released on Tuesday showed. So, now in this context, let's discuss about the wholesale price index. The wholesale price index measures the changes in the prices of goods that are sold and traded in bulk by wholesale business to other businesses. It is calculated and published by the Office of Economic Advisor, Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. WPI data is published monthly with the index value representing an estimate of the price level for entire month rather than a specific date. An upward surge in the WPI indicates inflationary pressure in the economy, while a decline signals a decrease in the inflationary pressures. The month-on-month rise in the WPI is used to measure the level of wholesale inflation in the economy, providing an important indicator of price trends. The WPI is calculated by taking a weighted average of the prices of basket of goods with each item's weight determined by its share of total wholesale sales. The basket of goods comprises three major groups: primary articles, fuel and power, and manufactured products. These categories collectively reflect overall wholesale price movement in the economy. Coming to the next article, after a being 2022, natural catastrophes caused significant losses of $12 billion, over 1 lakh crore in India in calendar year 2023. Floods in northern India and Sikkim, coupled with tropical cyclones Biparjoy and Michong, pushed overall economic losses for the year to $12 billion. Well, above the previous year 10-year average of $8 billion, global insurance giant Swiss Re said in a report. Economic losses in 2024 are yet to be calculated. So, now in this context, let's do an analysis by the report submitted by the Swiss Re. The analysis by Swiss Re in 2023 highlights the significant economic impact of natural catastrophes in India, emphasizing that high losses from these disasters are primarily due to the concentration of assets in vulnerable areas and exposure to multiple natural hazards. For instance, Cyclone Biparjoy, which struck Gujarat in June 2023, caused massive damage in Kutch and disrupted key ports like Kandla and Mundra. This cyclone also affected neighboring states such as Maharashtra and Rajasthan. Similarly, Cyclone Michong, which occurred in December 2023, led to an extreme rainfall and severe flooding in Chennai. Moreover, the monsoon floods in July 2023 resulted in significant flooding in northern India, particularly affecting regions like Himachal Pradesh, Simla, and Delhi. The flooding has been identified as a major concern, accounting for approximately 63% of total annual economic losses in India over past 2 decades. This is largely influenced by the country's climate and geography, which results in heavy rainfall during the summer monsoon and northeast monsoon, leading to frequent flooding. Notable historical instances of flooding include events in Mumbai 2005 and in Uttarakhand 2013, Jammu and Kashmir 2014, Kerala 2018, and northern India in 2023. The vulnerability of industrial states and cities to natural disaster is also a key issue. The top three industrial states, Gujarat with 13.3%, Maharashtra with 13%, and Tamil Nadu with 10.5%, are not only major contributors to the India's industrial output but are also hotspots for natural catastrophes. Major urban centers like Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Chennai, and Delhi are exposed to multiple natural hazards, including floods, cyclones, earthquakes, and further increasing their risks. In terms of earthquake risks, Delhi and Ahmedabad face significant hazards, with the potential for substantial losses if an earthquake were to originate from the Himalayas or local fault lines. A repeat of the devastating 2001 Bhuj earthquake in Gujarat could cause even greater losses, particularly due to higher exposures and increased urbanization. Another major concern is the issue of insurance and underinsurance. Many businesses, households, and individuals in India remain underinsured, making them highly vulnerable to financial strain during natural disasters. The protection gap, defined as the difference between actual coverage and the required protection, currently stands above 90%, indicating a vast gap in natural catastrophe coverage. To address this issue, Swiss Re advocates for a three-step approach to enhance resilience through insurance. First, granular hotspot identification. Second, risk accumulation assessment using up-to-date exposure data. And third, designing reinsurance programs to reduce underinsurance. Coming to the next article, January 14th was the first Amrit Snan or Shahi Snan at the Mahakumbh underway in Prayagraj. While the Kumbh Mela started on Monday, today was the first of the ritual baths in which Sadhu Akadas take the first dip after an elaborate procession to the river. Mahakumbh 2025 is a significant religious and cultural event with many key rituals and practices that hold deep meaning for millions of devotees. One of the central rituals is the Amrit Snan, previously known as Shahi Snan. This ritualistic holy bath taken by sadhus during the Mahakumbh is believed offer spiritual purification. The practice is rooted into the belief that Kumbh is held at places where Amrit spilled after the Samudra Manthan, the churning of the ocean, which holds immense mythological significance. The act of bathing during the Kumbh is considered highly auspicious as it is believed to wash away sins. This sacred act is further amplified by the alignment of auspicious planetary, solar, and lunar configurations, enhancing the spiritual significance of the event. Makar Sankranti, which coincides with the Mahakumbh, also holds astrological, mythological, and cultural importance. Astrologically, Makar Sankranti marks the sun transition into Makar Rasi, signaling the sun's northward movement, known as Uttarayan. This movement ushers in longer and warmer days, marking the end of inauspicious Karmas period. From a mythological perspective, Makar Sankranti is considered to be the god's daytime, making it an auspicious period for celebration and rituals. In Mahabharata, it is mentioned that Bhishma Pitama chose Uttarayan as the time for his death, further emphasizing the significance of this period. Culturally, Makar Sankranti is celebrated as a harvest festival across India, symbolizing prosperity and abundance. Additionally, bathing in holy rivers on Makar Sankranti is believed to bring immense spiritual merit, making it an essential practice for many devotees during this time. So, today we have discussed 10 articles in total, and tomorrow we will be back with another video. Thank you.